Hey guys, I'm Comeback Craig. Welcome back to another video. Today's topic is 4 things you thought were true, but they're not, about the VA claims process. These types of questions and statements float around out there due to a wide variety of things. Some of these came from a VSO. Pay attention to who you're getting to help you and make sure they have the right information, because it can hurt you in the long run. This is why it's better to just do it yourself. You understand what's going on, you do the legwork, you don't rely on somebody else to do it for you, and then you actually get the right information and get the right question instead of some kind of offhanded remark or laziness is really what this comes down to. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my boot camp. And if you need medical evidence, hit up my med team. Links for both are in the description. Number 1, if you're 100%, you can't work at all. This is false. You are being compensated for a disability that is related to your service, however many years back that was. VA disability does not work the same way as Social Security, where it's 0 or 100, all or nothing. There's a lot of steps in between with VA compensation. So you are able to work. A lot of your disabilities are going to have degrees of social and occupational impairment for sure, and they're going to get in the way of your work, but you can work. There are a lot of disabled veterans out there with 100% VA disability rating that work all day long. There's also a lot of veterans out there with 100% TDIU that also work all day long, but they've set up a protected or sheltered work environment for themselves. And if you're in one of those, you can work on TDIU. One thing about this I will say is be careful about what job you're going after. This is a disability rating that you're going to be fighting until it's protected for 20 years. So if you have, heavy back problems, multiple back ratings, secondaries for your back, mental health secondary to your back, migraine secondary to your back, everything kind of stems from your back, and then you're a ditch digger, you're probably going to have problems somewhere down the road if you're 100%. I mean, you could do it. It's just something that's avoidable. If your back's like that, you're not digging ditches anyway, but I'm just kind of using this as an example. Go get an office job or something like that. Do something that is not, as strenuous on your back. There's a lot of veterans out there with a lot of different types of jobs and a lot of different types of situations. Just be smart. You are going to be defending your disability rating until it's protected for 20 years. So pick something you could do. Everybody wants you to work. Working is healthy, especially if you have mental health issues, versus sitting around watching Married with Children. So get a job if you can. There's no problem with working if you have 100% VA disability rating. The second one I hear a lot is sleep apnea. The VA doesn't pay for sleep apnea. They don't rate it at all. This is false. The VA does pay for sleep apnea, and where this comes from is laziness on part of the person given the information. Yes, it is true. The VA wants to change the way they currently rate sleep apnea, and right now you get a 50% rating if you have a current diagnosis of sleep apnea and you're prescribed a CPAP, and you can make it stick with a Nexus. About a year ago, the VA came out with some proposed changes where they're going to give you a 0% rating with the CPAP. So they definitely don't like rating sleep apnea. I personally call it a 50-50 claim because it's a crapshoot. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. There's no guarantees with VA claims, but I like filing claims that you have a better chance of winning. But, if sleep apnea is the only disability and the only claim you could file, then go for it. Just temper your expectations. But the VA currently and always in the future will always pay VA disability compensation for sleep apnea. The next one is if you get your VA claim denied and you need to appeal, you need to have a lawyer in the appeals process. This is false. This one might be floating around from the lawyers out there that want to make money from you. I don't know. As veterans, we're able to represent ourselves. That's why working your own claim is the best option. They have to handle us with kid gloves. If we actually go to court, we can represent ourselves. You do not need to lawyer up every time you go into an appeals process. Learn what you need to do up front. There's 3 things. You need a current diagnosis, current symptoms, and a nexus. That's it. Those three things will win you a disability rating for the disability you're filing a claim for. You won't need lawyers and you won't need the appeals process at all, but you can represent yourself all the way up in front of the Supreme Court if it goes that high. Personally, I don't think I'd be representing myself in front of the Supreme Court, but we could. This one is for VSOs. I can't see your VA claims file. Nothing's in there. I checked my computer. So VSOs help veterans with their claims. They're able to get into pieces of the Veterans Benefits Management System, and they can look things up for us. They don't want to because it's a lot. Like, I've probably got a couple thousand pages of stuff. So when you're asking somebody like, hey man, can you look up a couple pages and tell me what's going on in my file? It could take them hours because they're lazy. You could do this yourself too. Get your VA claims file. You're going to want to do a FOIA request. Yes, it takes forever. And this particular route with the VSO, if he does want to actually do something, he can look at a page or two. You could go to the VA and look at a page or two. You have to know what you're looking for. But this notion that I can't access your VA claims file, like, they're accredited. They can access all sorts of stuff. They just don't want to. So I wanted to throw out a couple things here today. I see these myths, and I want to make sure that we set the record straight. You can work with a 100% VA disability rating. You can get rated for sleep apnea. VSOs can access your VA claims file. They just don't want to. And if you enter the appeals process, you can absolutely handle it on your own. And the way they changed things around in 2019 with the AMA, with higher level reviews and supplemental claims, you could absolutely handle those on your own and go to the board. Going to the board kind of sucks because you're going to be sitting there for 5 or 6 years. So hope you found this useful. Leave a comment below. Check out my boot camp. Hit up my med team. Links are in the description. I'll see you in the next video.